Well, guys, it looks like Kamala Harris, Donald Trump, they're going to be meeting in Philadelphia tonight, in a couple of hours for the presidential debate. I mean, a lot of people are waiting for this. What do you guys think is going to happen tonight? Do you think Kamala Harris is going to destroy Donald Trump like mainstream media is trying to convince us is going to happen? Or do you think Donald Trump is actually going to wipe the floor with Kamala Harris? And what do you think about Kamala Harris's last minute rule change demands?
We talked about those lids. So here's what I said to her. Here's what I said to her. So you know how those lids are, because this is, well, I'm just going to speak, okay? So this is it. So you know how those lids on those Starbucks cups, they're white, right? And so if you wear lipstick, they get all over the lid. And so then I find myself in meetings if I'm the only woman, and that's kind of, and so I keep taking the lid off and having my cup out so that I don't have that big lipstick mark on the lid. So I said, can we do something about the color of the lid? So that was that conversation.
Our vice president, folks, and she's supposed to be debating against Donald Trump, where many expect her to crash and burn. And this is because she's untested and couldn't even get past Tulsi Gabbard. She's also made it a point to avoid the media so that she isn't asked tough questions that she's not ready for. Meanwhile, Trump is out here taking questions left and right from anybody without fear. And guys, I just want to thank you all so much for hanging out with me. Thank you for liking the video. Thank you for subscribing. Let's get started. Here's what he had to say about the rule changes that Harris wanted for their debate.
President Trump, would you want the microphones muted in the debate whenever you're not speaking?
We agreed to the same rules. I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. I'd rather have it probably on, but the agreement was that it would be the same as it was last time. In that case, it was muted. I didn't like it the last time, but it worked out fine. I mean, ask Biden how it worked out. It was fine. And I think it should be the same. We agreed to the same rules. Same rules and same specifications. And I think that's probably what it should be. But they're trying to change it. The truth is they're trying to get out of it because she doesn't want to debate. She's not a good debater. She's not a smart person. She doesn't want to debate.
Now, I'm really not sure what President Trump is talking about because Harris speaks really well. She can complete sentences and can sometimes mix that in with a bunch of laughter. She's also really good at reading notes that were obviously prepared for her by somebody else. And this is in comparison to the last guy who faced off against Trump.
As it relates to the Philippines, I will say that we must reiterate always that we stand with you in defense of international rules and norms as it relates to the South China Sea. An armed attack on the Philippines' armed forces, public vessels, or aircraft in the South China Sea would invoke U.S. mutual defense commitments. And that is an unwavering commitment that we have to the Philippines. Our relationship is based on mutual commitments to international rules and norms, and upholding those international rules and norms in all of the ways that we know.
If she can't memorize a few sentences while talking to other world leaders, how can we expect her to lead the country? And it explains why she's pissed off that ABC News isn't letting her get away with the pre-written notes in her debate with Donald Trump. In fact, her campaign's crying that the VP is going to be disadvantaged fundamentally against Trump in this debate. This is because she's begging ABC to leave those mics on. She wants a moment where she can interrupt Trump talking over her so that she can show America that she's a strong black woman.
And the truth and the fact is, Joe Biden has been very clear. He will not raise taxes on anybody who makes less than $400,000 a year.
He said he's going to repeal the Trump tax cuts.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
Well,
I'm speaking.
It'd be important if you said the truth. Joe Biden said twice in the debate last week that he's going to repeal the Trump tax cuts. That was tax cuts that gave the average working family $2,000 in a tax break every single year. Senator,
that is
that's the math.
absolutely not true. That
Is he only going to repeal part of the Trump tax cuts?
If you don't mind letting me finish, we can then have a conversation, okay?
Please.
Okay. This is very important, Susan.
Yes,
and it's
but
important.
we need to give Vice President.
I'd just like to, he interrupted me, and I'd like to just finish, please.
But besides that, she doesn't really have much else to offer. And remember, guys, these are the same rules that the Biden campaign previously already agreed to. But this has proved to be awful for him because it allowed him to talk too much, which showed his mental decline. Also, by the way, guys, join us in our network. You'll see a link down below in the description down below. We release videos over there sooner than we do here. Also, I'm dropping content that I will never, ever post here. Do not miss out. There is a lot of underground content that I cannot release anywhere else. Check it out. Totally free to join. Link in the description down below. Join our Patreon. That quickly backfired. Now, another word on the street is that there will be times where ABC will allow the mics to be hot. This is probably their way of giving Harris what she wants without making it too obvious. And even though it's pretty clear to us that Harris is nervous for this debate, supporters of the VP argue that it's the other way around. Listen to Democratic Representative Dan Goldman talking about Trump here.
If I'm Donald Trump, I understand why he doesn't want to debate. Kamala Harris is
he's accepted
a
3.
prosecutor.
He said yes to September 4th, September 10th, September 17th. He said yes to a lot of them. So it's not that he's obviously afraid to debate.
No. So no. He had agreed to September 10th. Well, on ABC.
With Biden, who got pushed out.
What's the difference? Why should he not debate whoever the candidate is on September 10th as he agreed to? What is the difference between candidate Biden and candidate
it's fine.
Harris?
He said he would do it. I'm just saying he's also agreed to other debates. You said he hasn't agreed to others. He has. It's the Kamala Harris campaign that hasn't agreed on the other side.
Now, first of all, is he seriously asking what's the difference between the two completely different persons? And again, Trump has already called their bluff. These people keep saying Trump is afraid to debate Harris, when he's the one who's ready to go against her more than once. She doesn't want to do more than one debate. He's also not pushing for any rule changes like she is. And even then, he probably doesn't even care if some of the rules are changed because he's just confident in his abilities. I really can't say the same for Kamala Harris because she's going by the same approach that Biden did with his debate against Trump. Harris will spend almost a week holed up in Pennsylvania before the debate. It's expected that she's going to be coached by Democratic attorney Karen Dunn, the same person who helped prepare President Joe Biden. She also has Rohini Kasalglu within her team, someone who served as her chief of staff while she was a senator out in California. Trump, though, isn't mixing things up too much as he's mostly talking with close confidants about policy discussions. Something that may not end well for Harris as she's been openly criticizing President Joe Biden's decisions with the border, illegal immigration, the economy, and many other things that have obviously failed within the past few years. Essentially, Kamala Harris is flailing and she's burning bridges right behind her. And it's also being reported that Donald Trump is going through a very different method when it comes to preparation. So Brian Hughes, his campaign senior advisor, said that since Donald Trump has done hours upon hours of unscripted interviews, that he's pretty much prepared for a debate at any given point in time. The former president also confirmed that much like what he did with President Joe Biden, he plans on just letting Harris talk herself into failure to let the American people decide if this is the person that deserves to be the next president of the United States. Now, this method, it worked pretty well for Tulsi Gabbard just a few years ago, which means that it's plausible that it works again this time around.
Vivek, but on banning private health insurance, she has said she does not believe that, and she does not believe that now. On banning fracking, she has made clear, and she did in the interview with Dana Bash, that she does not support that anymore. If evolving, or call it what you want, flip-flopping, you can call it what you want. But one second.
I can't leave that hanging. I can't leave that hanging on policy, if I may.
I understand, but I'm going to ask the question, then you can totally answer. She said very clearly that now is those are not her positions. If evolving on an issue, if evolving on a position, you can even call it flip-flopping on an issue. If that is now not allowed, if that should be, the death knell to a campaign, Donald Trump's got issues there.
So look, the reality is Donald Trump's been clear about his policy positions. With Kamala Harris, I want to be specific about this, though. Actions speak louder than words. When you brought up some claims about Kamala Harris. I want to finish that discussion. She said she didn't favor a ban on fracking now. The reality is she was one of the strongest proponents of that ban, so much so that when she was in California, she sued the Obama administration over granting fracking permits. She didn't just favor the abolition of private health insurance. She was a co-sponsor of the bill with Bernie Sanders as a U.S. Senator for Medicare for All for Americans. The reality is, when you think about the Green New Deal, she was the chief proponent, not just as a co-sponsor of the legislation, but going further and saying she would end the filibuster in the Senate to ram that through. So the reality is she can say what she wants to say now. Those are actions she has taken. Is someone allowed to evolve? Of course they are, but she deserves to explain exactly why she's changed those positions, exactly what her position is. If it's not a ban on fracking, what exactly is it? What exactly is her healthcare plan if she no longer favors abolishing private health insurance, which just 4 short years ago when she ran for president, she did? And that's the kind of scrutiny that's been missing. I think Donald Trump has received plenty of scrutiny, and I give credit to him for sitting for hostile interviews that Kamala Harris has not. But the American people and the American electorate deserve a rich policy debate that they have not had.
And it gets to be, I guess it will be for the voters to decide how long of kind of an expiration date there is on when something is still your position, or if you believe them now on what they're saying on their position. Voters get to decide.
Poor Kate, her face and her body language, it pretty much says it all. And the same goes for her stuttering and slurring her words a little bit, because Vivek is coming in with all these facts. And that's what we got to focus on here. We have to focus on the truth, because by then the decision lies with us. Now, honestly, guys, all I can say is amen to our lost candidates who have left us trying to make things better. You can see the same kind of dedication in Bobby Kennedy right now. His supporters believe that his mission is real and it's true, and that he himself is a man of integrity. So much so that his enemies are now targeting his wife, Cheryl Hines, to get to him. For real, guys, check this out.
Kinsey, we spoke earlier in the week about former independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s wife copping all sorts of abuse because she told Robert to hear Trump out, and he's ended up endorsing Donald Trump. There's been actors and Hollywood types laying into her, and RFK has come back and accused those of attacking his wife. And this is actress Cheryl Hines. You would probably be familiar with her work if you like comedy. RFK has said they are hypocrites and bullies.
Like many people who point fingers and accuse other people of bullying women, that's exactly what he was doing there.
Kinsey, why are so many in Hollywood going after Cheryl? This is a decision her husband has made. It's like they're holding her responsible for the political views of her husband.
I mean, the hypocrisy of it all. How is Cheryl responsible? Why was Hillary Clinton not attacked for Bill and the intern? Instead, they tried to elect her as president. When Anthony Weiner was caught being Carlos Danger, his wife, Huma, she was given saint status. But when a conservative man makes a mistake or misbehaves or does something that the left doesn't like, their wife is fair game. Look at poor Melania Trump. And Cheryl, I mean, she's taking the heat. And I think that it says more about these people. Kennedy's entire presidential campaign was about unity and bringing the parties together. And this is just hateful rhetoric.
Now, you heard it, guys. It's basically just hateful rhetoric at this point. I'm just glad MAGA Republicans are able to stay on message that Donald Trump just keeps adding these big names to his campaign. I mean, it's Trump, it's Vance, RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, Elon Musk 2024 at this point. You know what I mean? So yeah, as for RFK Jr. suspending his campaign and endorsing Donald Trump, here's the game plan. Now, ahead of the endorsement deal, a lot of people from both campaigns, they wanted to make sure that he would help Donald Trump defeat Vice President Kamala Harris and not the other way around. So Kennedy's decision to remove himself from the swing states while staying on solidly blue state ballots was his attempt at showing loyalty to Donald Trump and also helping to assert his defiance to the Democratic Party. Now, Kennedy and Trump confidants see this decision as a win-win. By technically staying on the ballot in Democratic strongholds, Kennedy leaves open the possibility that some voters who don't want the Harris-Walz ticket could still vote for him and make liberals sweat. In fact, those allied with Kennedy say that he's hoping to put Democrats on defense and actually have to spend even more money in safe blue states, dollars that would otherwise go to the battlegrounds. As a source very familiar with Kennedy's ballot strategy explained, he will now counterattack the Democratic Party and then force them to spend money on states that they weren't counting on spending. States like New York, California, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Illinois, and Washington. The best part? Trump will spend literally no money at all. Meanwhile, Democrats are going to be screwed and they're going to have to spend a lot of of extra money. As you can imagine, Democrats are doing their very best to stop him from doing this. The North Carolina board's Democrats outvoted its Republicans 3-2 to reject Kennedy's request to be removed from the ballot. Now, out of the state's 100 counties, 67 have already begun printing ballots, nearly 1.7 million of them to be sent out by September 6th. In fact, RFK Jr. has had to sue the North Carolina Election Board to have his name removed from the 2024 presidential election ballot after it originally denied his request. The ex-independent candidate filed the suit in Wake County Superior Court, stating that the board's refusal to remove the We the People Party, which nominated him, violated the state's election law and his freedom of speech. Meanwhile, in New York, a lawyer for Kennedy still asked a state appeals court to restore his place on the ballot. Before dropping out, Kennedy was locked in a fight to keep his name on the New York ballot after his residency in the state came under question. He was eventually barred from appearing on the ballot shortly before announcing his withdrawal from the race. Kennedy also submitted his candidate filing in Oregon while withdrawing his name from other anticipated battleground states like Maine. So Bobby's impact is nothing to scoff at here, guys. For one, Kennedy has consistently been polling around 3% in North Carolina. And with how tight the race is right now between Harris and Donald Trump, every point counts. In fact, every vote counts in what could be the most important presidential election of our lives. Now, speaking of Tulsi Gabbard, I covered a previous video where Tulsi absolutely wrecks CNN's Dana Bash in an interview. Make sure you guys watch that video out right after this one, because it shows you guys the intelligence of Tulsi Gabbard and just how much of an asset that Tulsi is to Donald Trump's presidential campaign. So make sure you click on my channel, click on videos, check that video out right now. As always, thank you so much for hitting the like button, guys. Thank you for subscribing, and I'll see y'all next time.